Hey everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with a new scrapbooking process video. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you enjoy. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome, and I would love it if you would become a subscriber. You can also click on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video up. Alright folks, let's get going! Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Product Placement, my series with Kelly O'Black. In fact, this is going to be our last episode of Product Placement. No worries, Kelly and I are just going to be moving on to another series starting in January 2021. I actually haven't talked with Kelly about whether or not we're talking about that this month, so I will say nothing more. And if I chat with her and manage and figure out before I do the voiceover, I will talk about it in the voiceover. So for this episode, we are going to be working with 6x6 and 6x8 paper pads. I have pulled out from my Paige Evans stash the 6x6 Oh My Heart paper pad and the 6x8 Horizon paper pad, because a heck of a lot of paper pads in my stash just never get touched. So that's why we definitely wanted to use them for this episode. I'm also pulling in this whimsical cardstock piece. It's one of the specialty cardstock pieces that American Crafts often has with their lines like Chamel or Maggie. I keep wanting to say Maggie Lawson, who's an actress. Maggie Holmes or Amy Tangerine, they'll have some sort of specialty cardstock or vellum or acetate. And in this case, I didn't necessarily understand this paper. So the entire point was to, I don't know if you can see this, but to bend up the items so that they'd be like 3D-ish. But for me, I don't display mine. I mean, I would have to buy like a shadow box and then put it up, and that's just not what I want to do with it. So my thought is to leave the ones that just have the outline, the simple outline, blank and back them with the papers. But the couple of ones that are double outlined here, to use my X-Acto knife and kind of trim away so there'll be two layers. So you'll see the pattern paper through here in the center, and then if I trim away these outer leaves, you'll also see it there. So this may work, or it may be that I end up doing this layout on a completely different piece of paper with a completely different look. We're gonna see what's going on in just a few minutes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get you put on fast forward. Before I do, couple things. Number one, make sure you head on over to Kelly's channel. Her link will be in the description box. And also, if you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. All right, let's get going. All right, everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. This first part, I'm going to really just speed through. It's really just me taking my X-Acto knife and completing the connections so I can remove the three that are double layered. So basically, there's an outer part and an inner part. So I will remove the outer part and then put the inner part back in over some pattern paper using the 6x6 paper pad. So now I have all three of those out, and I'm going back to my normal speed of sped upness. Now you saw the picture I'm using. That is of my best friend and housemate's cat, Casper, back in the mid 90s. So this is a cat who has since passed away. We were looking through some older photos and we found that one of Casper, and my housemate was like, would you mind doing a page about this? And I said, of course I would not mind doing a page about Casper. So I put the page together and I put a spot for journaling, but I'm going to let my housemate actually do the journaling because I did not actually know Casper. She passed away, or he passed away before I actually met my best friend. So I've gone through the 6x8 and 6x6 paper pad, and I've picked some colors that I think would work. I went for the really colorful stuff because Uh, the openings here are not super large, so I thought it would be a really good time to use the really busy patterns. Now, this one pattern right here on the dark teal with the copper polka dots, along with some other colorful polka dots, those are what I'm going to use for every bit of the little leafy patterns. So that way there is some consistency going on. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had pulled out all of the Christmas stuff, and Xanthi decided she desperately needed to explore it. Oy vey. All right, so as I said, I am just backing everything here. I did jump ahead because I wanted to show you Xanthi was very interested in what I was doing. So as I said, I'm backing all of this. I'm not gluing it down crazily enough. You'll see there are parts up. There was a piece of very thin cardstock that came with this piece of cutout paper, and so I had decided I was just going to go ahead and use that to back the entire thing. I'm just going to lay a load of ATG down and make sure that covers everything. Other than that, normally what I would, because the openings were very close together, it would have been hard. I would have had to do a lot more fussy cutting. This was just way easier. I did have one part hanging off the side, and I just went ahead and trimmed that out, and then Sancy said, "Mine," and just took it. So that makes cleanup easier. So this, as I mentioned, is my best friend's and housemate's cat, Casper. But this cat was her cat in the mid 90s, so I actually never met him. He is a white cat, so I do want to matte this photo with some colorful paper just because my background is a lot of white, and so I definitely wanted to make the photo pop. So you'll see here I've now added back the inner parts of all three of those, and I cannot believe I didn't screw it up. Yay me! All right, so I'm like, ooh, but you know what? I really like these flower pieces. Rather than toss them, why don't I go ahead and use them as part of my embellishments? So I'm going to take some Shimmers spray, and I use Sweetheart for the pink, and then I use Rip Van Periwinkle for a purpley color, purpley blue color, and then Tuscan Sun for a yellow. And I'm just going to spray them all, and then I'm going to go back and add some misting to them as well, just to give a little differentiation of color. While I'm doing all of this, oh, and there's Miss Xanthi. I provide a very easy way for her to get up on that table. And does she use it? No. Instead, she jumps up while I'm on camera because she's awesome like that. All right. So while I'm doing this, I do want to talk about, I did manage to talk to Kelly, and she's like, yeah, no, let's go ahead and talk about it. So both Kelly and I are working on working from our stash. I actually haven't purchased anything since October 1st, 2019, so it's almost 2 months. I do belong to a design team. I will be getting that product every month, but other than that, I'm consciously trying not to add to my stash until I work with it. I don't necessarily think I have a ton of stuff, but I have enough that I really need to work with it rather than adding to it, and that's just a personal feeling. You know, everyone's allowed to do whatever they want when it comes to scrapbooking. So we are going to be doing a series we're going to call Stash Bash with Rachel and Kelly. And we're going to do different things different months. Some months we're going to be doing you can't use anything made after such and such a year. We're going to be working with some mood boards. We're going to be doing some what's your oldest collection, or, you know, getting something really old on, you know, just trying to mix it up a little bit. We know a lot of people really like it when YouTubers use their older stuff, because a lot of people have that same problem going back and using your older stuff, and showing ways where you can make your older stuff work with your newer stuff and things along those lines. So that's going to be our series starting in January 2020, even though I said in the beginning 2021, and that is simply because I'm a dork and I was working on stuff at work um, for the year 2020. And so I was thinking, okay, this is for next year, so that's 2021. Yeah, that's a smart me thing. Totally. All right, so I decided to this would look really cute if I had the butterfly wing and the flower be over my photo. I'm going to forget about that, and only one of them is going to work out, but it's totally fine. It's the one that actually matters. So this photo was taken in 1995, and that was when you could start getting cameras where you could have the date and time printed on your camera, on your photo, which was super awesome and totally technology awesomeness. Only now, 25 years later, it's like, well, that looks dumb. So I don't want that on my scrapbook page. So you have to come up with creative ways to cover it. Um, unless you have the original negatives and you can reprint them. All right, so I've decided to, underneath where I'm going to put those misted flowers, to go ahead and drop a coordinating mist on the actual paper. So I've got Tuscan Sun, where I'm putting that flower right now, and then I have Rip Van Periwinkle up with the purple flower. And here's where I'd forgotten that I wanted to have the flower come up over the photo, and I glued that one down right over the flower. Now, when I went to go do the pink one, I managed to do it so I could still pop up that butterfly wing, but it wasn't that big of a detail that I was willing to mess up my paper with the flower. I'm just like, you know what, we're just gonna let it go. But the butterfly wing is what's really covering up the majority of that issue with the date and time stamp, so I'm totally fine with that. I'm using these Indigo and Ivy Pink Paisley thickers to spell out the word Casper, which is his name. These are my favorite style, where it's the foam thicker with a thin layer of chipboard on top. The only thing is you do need to be careful not to bend them because it will show a crease in the top. Now, I am going to embellish. I'm going to use some stickers from the 6x12 Horizon line. I use some more butterflies just to, because there are butterflies in the background. And then I'm also going to be using those heart-shaped charms along with some puffy stickers. And that's going to basically be what I use besides some enamel dots to finish it off. So this is very florally and very butterfly-y, so I just wanted to accent that with my puffy stickers and my other items that I added. So this label die cut is from Ellie Studio. I'm just going to tuck that right underneath the photo. And as I said, my housemate is actually going to be doing the journaling for this because this is a cat in 1995. I believe he actually passed away before I met my best friend. So like the late 90s, I believe Casper passed away. So the charms come from, I don't remember what line, to be totally honest. It's not one I tend to use a lot. So just in case you're wondering, this is the look I was getting from Xanthi the entire time I was making this layout. She, I do not believe, was super appreciative of me making a layout about another cat. I'm finishing off this layout with some enamel dots from Basic Gray. Before I say goodbye, just want to remind you, make sure you head on over to Kelly's channel and check out her video. It will be in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. And have a wonderful day, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next year with Stash Bash with Rachel and Kelly. Bye!